The Save Our South Channel Light is a nonprofit organization. The board of directors or the membership are volunteers only. None of us get paid to do our job.
Europe, they have buildings that are thousands of years old, and they kept the important ones. We have to do that in the United States. We have to make sure that we keep some of our historical buildings, especially lighthouses. We have more lighthouses in Michigan than anywhere in the United States. So the lighthouses themselves are particularly important and probably easier to save than buildings are. Most of them are on land. Ours in particular in the water makes it a little tougher to get there, but I find that with the public they like a challenge. The harder it is to do, the more they want to do it. Mm-hmm. So we depend on that, and we've done a lot of work recasting steps and all kinds of different things that were very expensive, but we had to do them.
They're on, I believe, is it the south side of Harson's Island? If you go on to Harson's Island through a boat ferry or through a car ferry, you can go to the south side of Harson's Island and park and actually not view an up close sight of them, but if you bring your binoculars, you can see them. There is no actual ferry that can take you over there, but if you have a boat, you can get there.
We volunteer our time and many of our expenses, if it's crossing the ferry or if it's putting gas in the boat or if it's products that we need for the lights. We try to find donations, and if we can't find donations, we have to purchase some things. And when we have to purchase things, it takes away money from possible grant matches. There's a number of ways we generate money. The first is we do fundraisers, and at the fundraisers we sell merchandise or we sell raffle tickets and do a 50-50 raffle. And at boat shows or other events, we will set up our booth and sell merchandise, if it's fleeces, if it's coffee mugs, hats, or what have you. The other way we raise money is through our membership base, and we're at about 250, 300 members where they pay a yearly or annual due, and that due ranges from the beginner level at $15 to, I believe it's $1,000 for life membership. And that membership money helps with the reoccurring costs that come along with maintaining the lighthouses. And one of the number one issues that come to date is the insurance to insure the lighthouses for liability. And then the other costs are ongoing maintenance and purchasing merchandise.
Okay, so now we've raised over $600,000 and we have finished the rear light. We're in the process right now of trying to apply for a match grant to finish the front light. And the front light is probably going to take us about $300,000. It was actually the very first thing we ever finished because it was in the worst condition. So it was leaning really bad. The crib that it was sitting on was eroded away from the water, and the Michigan winters are terrible up here with the ice. And what we had to do in the beginning was put a temporary seawall around the front light and straighten it so that it wasn't going to be gone. If we didn't do that first, it wouldn't be here today. So after we got that in place, our next step was to go to the rear light, which the island is shaped like an arrowhead on the rear light, and the island was completely gone. At one point it had a full house that had 4 bedrooms and 4 fireplaces. It was a very huge house. The very first lightkeeper's name was Michael Jackson, of all things. We have tons of history that tells you there were 4 women lighthouse keepers on our island. And we have managed to raise enough money that we completely finished the rear light. The staircase has 41 spiral steps that are actually very ornate and gorgeous, cast iron. Everyone's been redone. The lantern room on the top has been completely removed, And we had MIM Enterprises get out there and help us finish that. And now our project is to help try to get a match grant from the government to match the money that we have already and give us enough to finish the front light. The funny thing is, the lighthouses, there's actually 2 of them, and they are called range lights. And for people who don't really know what range lights are, most people know what lighthouses are, but don't know what range lights are. The purpose of range lights are to guide the ships. Way back in the history, they used to trade fur, and that was the industry of making money in Michigan. And a lot of the boats used to come up the channels. Well, the channels were actually different than they are now at that time, and the boats used to have to navigate through waters that were quite tricky, and they turned and they got shallow and they got deep, and if you weren't familiar with that particular route, then you could really do a lot of damage and ruin your boats. Halfway through here in Mackinac was what is now known as Anchor Bay, and the reason that got its name was because a lot of the boats would get to that certain point, which is right where the canal or the channel used to turn, and they would all anchor for the night, and that's how it became the name Anchor Bay. They all stayed the night, because if you didn't do it during the daytime, you were grounded and you ruined your boat. The range lights, the front light is shorter. The rear light, when you're coming up the channel, the rear light is higher. And when you're driving, they look like 2 different beacons of light. And when you know you're in the right path, when they come together and the lights line up and one is directly above the other. That's what range lights are.
To become a member, you can go to the Save Our South Channel website, and then that's at soschannellights.org. And for $15, you can get the minimal membership, and they range up to as high as $1,000, and that would be a light keeper. The different rates in membership doesn't give you any difference in any membership level. It's basically, what you want to give, and how do you want to help. And you can go to the website and download the membership form, and you can also come to any of our fundraisers that we have.
These lighthouses, in one way or another, have touched every family around Lake St. Clair. Either, if not them directly, it was their uncle or their grandfather, or my neighbor's dad, or somebody knows somebody that has some connection to these lighthouses.
Or they have a memory when they were out on, in the bay, or something that they just remember as they passed the lights, they were doing a certain thing. So there's always memories. There's always memories.